Welcome to Boom. I know a lot of you are first timers here. It's our Business Owner Online Meetup. And our March focus, because we do this every month, is how to make your business work for you so that you're not working for your business. And I'm Britt Alvarud. I'm the founder CEO of Handlr, and let's get started here. So what we're reviewing today is the email, Why Most Small Businesses Don't Work and What to Do About It by Michael E Gerber. So really quick, who do we have on the call today? Can you introduce yourself?
I'll go first. I'm Michaela Smith. I'm a business owner here in Colorado Springs, Colorado. And my company is called Pitter Pattering Paws, which is a pet sitting and dog walking business.
Great. Thanks, Michaela, for joining us. Who else do we have?
I'm Reed Clanahan, and I'm a personal trainer here in Dallas, Texas.
Thanks, Reed. Okay, and we have Carol.
Yeah, sure. Carol Birch, and I'm just looking at starting up a business, so I'm interested in learning what you have to share.
Perfect. We love that. We love the first-time entrepreneurs too, because if you're learning it now, you're putting down the foundation for a really successful business. Awesome. And we have Linda.
Yes, I'm Linda Beatty. I have a pet sitting and dog walking company in Indianapolis, Indiana. Since I've been going since 2008, and as business grows, I do everything myself. So, I mean, I don't do everything myself. I do all the office work myself.
You're wearing lots of hats, huh?
Lots of hats. I have several people working for me, but, you know, as business grows, I keep thinking maybe there might be an easier way to keep track of all the office work.
Exactly. Perfect. Well, and that's what we're going to talk about here. So we're kind of using this book as a guide because this book is like a small business owner Bible. I read this a few years back. It's a great book. I highly, highly recommend it. So even if you haven't read it yet, no problem. We're just going to use it as a basis for our discussion today. But we're going to talk about what is the entrepreneurial myth. And we're going to talk about if you are Sarah the Pie Maker or not, and why some businesses stay small and others go big. And then we'll also talk about the turnkey revolution, how it's a new view of business and how it's a way that you can kind of set your business goals to think about your business in a bigger way. We're also going to talk about working on your business and not just in it, and the steps for creating a business that works for you. So let's get started here. I'm not going to read all of this because you guys, I'm sure, can read it. And it gets kind of boring doing that. But, you know, the reason why someone starts a business is not always because they think, you know what, I'm going to take this amount of capital. I'm going to take $200,000 and I'm going to go and start this business and it's going to be amazing. And I don't even know what I'm going to sell yet, but I'm just going to start a business. That's not usually how people start one. It's usually because you love doing something. You love taking care of dogs. You love personal training, or you love body work and sharing your gift with people. And that is a great, great way to start because obviously if you do things out of love, then you're going to get love back. And that also, in turn, has a great financial benefit as well, usually. But the problem is that, you know, you're starting out with maybe zero capital. And when you're starting out, you're kind of just going about things and kind of getting new clients, and it's really exciting and it's growing. And when you have your first few, maybe 20, 30 clients, everything is still manageable. But the thing is that you start finding yourself loving taking care of dogs or loving doing personal training, but you're getting burned out. And you're getting burned out not because you're falling out of love with the dogs and the personal training, but you're actually falling out of love with the business side of things because it's really stressful. Am I right?
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So what we want to talk about today is how can you love your business as much as you love what you're doing? So that can be tough because a lot of us didn't start a business because of a love of being a business owner, but more so because of the love of being able to do something that fulfills you and makes you happy. But the thing is that it's not always sustainable, and we all need to make a living, and we all need to get a return on this massive amount of investment that we put in our business. And, a lot of people get stuck at the beginning stage, and I think this is part of the myth, is that, you think, okay, I'm going to start my own business, and I'm going to be able to make all this money, have all this freedom, and be able to go and travel, and it's going to be glorious. Well, there's a really kind of far way that you have to go from starting the business to getting to that point where you can experience that freedom. And that's a reason why I think a lot of small businesses fail. Over 90% of them in the US here is because it's really, really hard. I mean, it's so much work. You're not working 9 to 5, you're working 9 to 9. And it's just draining. And, if you don't put the systems in place, and if you don't have the team, and if you don't have a business that runs itself, then it's going to run you into the ground. And you're never going to get that freedom. And then that's why so many people, they give up because they're not getting the financial benefit out of it. They're totally burned out and they're drained. So there is a way to fix this, though. And after reading this book years ago and reading a lot of other books that we'll talk about in other boom sessions, but it just totally changed the way I looked at mine, because I was burned out and I wanted to throw my phone out the window. Michaela, you and I talked about this week.
Yes, indeed.
But it's you just get to the point where you go, I don't want to bring on any more clients because I can't handle it all. So, and I like this quote here. I think that maybe inside any business, there's someone slowly going crazy. And that is true. Okay, so the thing is, with the E-Myth, Michael Gerber talks about Sarah the pie maker as an example. And it's a way to kind of put yourself in the shoes of someone and kind of think about yourself at a distance as well. So he talks about the technician versus the business owner. So the technician is the pie maker. And Sarah, she started out making pies because she was really good at it. And she really loved her family recipe. Everybody wanted her pies and she started selling them. But then after a few years, she got really sick and tired of making pies. And she couldn't keep up with the demand, because she was not only making the pies, but she was also taking the orders, and she was doing the cleanup, and she was trying to do marketing, but she wasn't even doing her marketing because she just didn't have hours in the day to do it after all the day-to-day operations. So what happened was that Sarah wanted to give up. And so, what Michael Gerber came in and did was coach her to see that, you got to think of yourself not just as a pie maker, but as a business owner. And, you have to also ask yourself, do you have hundreds of mini bosses, or are you the boss? So I don't know how you guys feel, but I felt like a few years back, that my 100 clients, that they were actually my 100 bosses. So instead of getting the freedom of working for yourself, I was working for all these little bosses. So you have to get to the point where you're the big boss. And then it's also getting past fears of, no one else can do what I do and only my clients want me. But that's not really the truth, because you can hire people that are even better at you than what you do. You can hire people that do things that you don't know how to do. And also, a lot of people think, especially in the pet industry, I am the only one who I trust to take care of these dogs. These dogs are like my family, and I don't trust anyone else, but there's ways to get past that, and we'll talk about that as well. And the other thing to think is, if you are so good at something, you need to share it with the world. And you have to think about how you can scale so that you can affect more people. So, I wanted to be able to walk every single dog in San Diego because I didn't trust any other business to take care of those dogs except for us. So that was kind of how I altered my thinking of getting past the only I can take care of my dogs. And honestly, I have a lot of my dog walkers are so amazing that, I mean, they're even better than me at working with some of our difficult dogs. I mean, they're the best team. But you also have to think, what if something happens to you? Can your business go on without you? I mean, if you break your leg as a personal trainer, that's not good. I mean, I guess you could stand there, but if you also break your leg as a dog walker, well, you're not walking anywhere. Maybe if you get a motorized wheelchair, I'm not sure. But I would want to know that I could still, be able to pay my bills even if something happened to me. And then also a lot of people think, my business is my baby and my business is me. But if you think of it as that, you're not going to think of it as a living, breathing machine that can function at a really high level, even if you're not the one actually baking the pies or doing the dog walks. So you want to be that business owner and not a pie maker. So does anybody identify with Sarah, or are you guys on the road to being the business owner?
I totally identify personally.
Yep, exactly. And it's also a road. It's you start out maybe as Sarah, but then you kind of, as you grow, you're able to make those financial goals and you're able to bring on somebody to help you. And then you can get closer and closer to the freedom of being the business owner who can jump in wherever needed, but and you are confident that your business is really running without you. And so these are kind of the reasons why some businesses stay small and others go big. And really, it's being afraid to make the jump to hire employees. And there's ways to be able to trust employees more, like using technology, being able to GPS track them, receiving check-in and check-out notifications to know that they were there on time. There's also, people that don't think about their business as a system of processes and protocol. So you have to think, am I doing the same things the same time or the same way every time? Or could I give someone a set of instructions and they could go do the service exactly how I would want them to do it? A lot of people are fearful of letting go or not being able to keep up with demand, too busy with the day-to-day, or you also have a do-it-all mentality, which gets in the way of asking for help and hiring others that can do the job for you. And what happens with, I think, small business owners, the reason why it takes a long time to get to the next step in your business is because you think, you know what, I'll do it. I'll do this, I'll do that. But you only have so many hours in the day, and you can only do so much. And, you can also ask for help. You can do trades with your clients if money's an issue. I had an attorney who, this was when I very first started my business. I couldn't afford an attorney to write up my service agreements. And so I ended up training his dog for a month in order to get my agreement. So there's ways to make things happen, and there's ways to get other people to help you so that you don't stand in your own way. And then also there's a fear of like, for instance, it is very, very scary to switch over to a new platform, whether it's switching to a new email newsletter platform or switching to, Handlr or your software, a different new software. It's very scary because you don't know how it's actually going to work or if it's going to work for you or this and that. And so that fear kind of gets in the way, whereas, if you just rip the Band-Aid off, then you're that much closer to accelerating your business. But let's talk about this turnkey revolution. So with the Industrial Revolution, the information technology age, businesses really changed, and they went from being mom and pops to really drastically changing the way that we all do business. And you can see this quote here. It's a way of doing business that has the power to dramatically transform any small business from a condition of chaos and disorder to a condition of order, excitement, and continual growth. So if you are the person who's in the thick of it, in that chaos and disorder, and just constant client requests and everything's being done differently every time, so people can't depend on the quality from your team members, if it's always constantly crazy, you're going to burn out on that craziness, but also you're not going to be excited about your business anymore. And that's when the growth stops. And with McDonald's, all right, I'm not a huge fan of McDonald's. I like to eat a little bit healthier. but as far as the business goes, that is one heck of a business. Ray Kroc, he went in there and he goes, hey, I can take this mom and pop business. I can make this burger even better than it already is. And then I'm going to figure out how to make that burger the same exact way, replicated thousands of times. And the way that he does that is he thinks of the restaurant as a whole system with handbooks and processes and lists, and everything is done to the T with those processes and lists and handbooks. And also there's all these quality control checks and everything else, but they're able to be a $40 billion a year business with 28,707 restaurants in 120 countries. Holy cow. That would be so awesome if Dogs Energy was doing $40 billion a year, but we're not there yet. Anyone else there yet?
Sure. I wish.
One day, right?
Yeah, no doubt.
But one of the ways to get there is to think of the business that you have now as a franchise prototype. So even if you guys don't even have any plans of turning your business into a franchise, you can, if you think about the business you have now as a franchise prototype that could be replicated, it means that you write down everything and anything having to do with your business, and you do it the same way every single time. And the goal is to be able to hand over your operations manual and your handbook and your platform that you run your business on, and you hand it to somebody, and you're able to step away without having a heart attack or dropping dead. So that means you can also go on vacation. It means that you can start another business as well if you're crazy like me. and it's a way to also create more opportunity. It's about not just selling services, but you could even sell your business thousands of times to other people if you wanted to go the franchise route. So it's just a way of thinking that helps you design the systemized business that you want and also design the life that you want. Okay, anybody have any questions so far?
I'm good.
Thanks, Michaela.
No, I don't have any questions because you're just describing me every time you say something. It's like, yep, that's me. Yep, that's me.
I know. Well, don't worry, because that's all of us, or it's been all of us at one point. And what I want to get into is how to create these systems and processes, because I don't know about you guys, but I listen to a lot of podcasts, a lot of webinars, because I'm constantly trying to learn all that I can as well. And I get annoyed when they say this is what you have to do, but don't give you steps and how to do it. And that really bothers me. So if you guys find that I'm doing that too much here, just pipe up and say, okay, that sounds great, but how do you do that? Okay, so let's talk about working on your business and not just in it. It's a very, very different thing. So when you're working in your business, you're actually physically performing the service every single time. You are with the dogs, or you're actually massaging someone, or your hands are literally tied. And so you're not really able to sit down and work on marketing. You're not able to sit down and work on your handbook or your operations manual. So freeing yourself up as much as possible, and that can be using technology, or it can be hiring somebody to do something for you, or giving maybe a few walks on, just to get started with one day, for instance. Like Monday is your day to work on your business and not just in it, and then have one dog walker who does that one day. And you will be so shocked by giving yourself that gift of being able to actually work on your business and organize things. And it feels so good. It just feels so good to finally get those things done. Even though they seem so monumental at the time, it's just so much, it feels so good to get it done. I put off doing an employee handbook for so long, and it became one of those things that was in the back of my head that just irritated me because I just couldn't get my act together and get it done. But I decided, you know what, I'm going to find an employee handbook online, like an outline of it, and then I'm going to put it into a Google Drive doc. Then I'll share it with all of my very best dog walkers that work for me. And I'm going to ask them to create this employee handbook with me. So this way we all kind of filled it out, and there were things that I didn't even think about that they added in. So that is one like hard concrete thing that you can do that will make your life easier, and you'll actually get it done. And I'm happy to share my employee handbook with you guys at the end of this if you'd like me to send it to you. And then you can rip it up and make it yours. But anyways, human nature just loves organized systems and processes. I don't think that we love the amount of work and effort and time that goes into it, but once we've done it, then that's when everything can smoothly progress. And that's when other people that are around you, like your customers and your team members, are just, they love it too, because we're all creatures of habit, and we're all stressed out by chaos and uncertainty. So, like for instance, Reed, if one of your personal trainers that you send out into the field, they go and work with a client, but then that person's sick, and then the next personal trainer has to come in, if that personal trainer does everything differently, from the way they greet the person to whether or not they bring a towel with them to offer the client, or if their style of training is completely different, then that client is going to be in a state of uncertainty. So I'm sure you're already doing all of this, but standardizing it, like you mentioned, how you use the same equipment every time, and how you're putting together training manuals, is the key to your success, because then you can send anyone to that client and they're going to be happy. Whereas if you keep sending different people that are doing different things, they're going to go, I don't know about this. So that's just an example of, quality control. And as soon as you put these things in place, and then you give your new hiree their handbook, and then you quiz them on it, and you train them, and you show every single person exactly the same way every time you're training them, they're gonna love the professionalism, and then they're gonna also happily follow along, and they're gonna be clued in, instead of them having to just be thrown into the mix. And then you wonder, oh, why did you write that update to the client in such a way? Like, you're not supposed to tell the client that their puppy is using your hand as a chew toy. Like, don't do that. You have to make sure that people know that there's certain ways we do things, and it's better to set them up for success instead of chastising them or having to teach them and embarrassing them later. But I really like this quote: organize around business functions, not people. I know that sounds kind of not very humanistic, but it's so important, because if you organize around the business functions, anyone can step in. Build systems within each business function. Let systems run the business, and people run the systems. People come and go, but the systems remain constant. So this is key, that last part, people come and go, because they do. I mean, there's crazy attrition rates with our dog walking industry, because, as much as we'd love to pay everyone $50 an hour, that's not happening. And so people are constantly coming and going because of different offers, etc. So it's really important that, you accept the fact that people come and go, one, for your own sanity, because every time somebody quits, it's very possible to have a mental breakdown. But if you know that you can find somebody and replace them smoothly, then you're relieving yourself of that stress, even though it is always stressful finding a new person. But at least acceptance is key. And if you have those systems in place, you're going to be good. So as far as action steps for putting these systems in place, the very first place that I tell everyone to focus on is your financial goals. I remember years back that I sat down and I wrote down in my journal, I want to make $100,000 a year. And I want to be able to do that, not so that I can pocket 100,000, but so that I can cover my expenses by, say, taking a salary of 40,000, but then being able to hire, 3 people to work for me that year, and then be able to have a budget to put into other ways of growing my business. So write down that number, whatever your magic number is, of how much you need to take care of your expenses and how much you need in order to keep growing your business. That's just huge. And then from there you can work backwards. So if you want to make that 100K per year or $1 million per year, that's awesome too. You need to think about how many packages can I sell, or how many recurring clients do I need to get that? And how many people do I need to hire in order to get that? So work backwards. Then you need to methodically think about how your business should always operate. So that's the employee handbook and your operations manual. So your employee handbook is something you can hand someone so that they know how to run your business or how to provide the service. And then the operations manual is even for you. So that's everything that you do down to the T, whether it's how to respond to emails, how to respond to a client who has a complaint about a dog walker, how to organize everything in Google Drive, where to find everything, what all your passwords and logins are, how do you do a client meet and greet. So the idea is that you write down everything that you do so that you can replicate yourself by handing this over to someone else who then can become your manager. So that now you are in the position of being the business owner. So you're the business owner, you have your manager, they do a lot of the day-to-day so that you as the business owner can focus on organizing and scaling your business even more, because it's never good enough in my mind. It always has to be better. And as you grow, you're going to come across more, I'm not going to call them headaches, but they totally are. I'm going to call them challenges. And then figuring out how to get past that obstacle. You also need to use automated platforms to free yourself and your team from the time-consuming tasks and the trivial stuff. There's so many things. Like, for instance, with my business, I didn't have my, with Handlr, we have our customer apps and we have our dog walker app. And what's awesome is that I can chat with my customer and my dog walker at the same time in a 3-way with our phone numbers hidden. So one, I don't have to worry so much about my clients and dog walker kind of going off and creating a relationship without me, cutting me out of the conversation. 2, it's one of those things where instead of having to answer another text message or another phone call with a client request like, please wipe my dog's paws off, it's, or today I need my dog in the backyard instead of in the house. Those little things, if you just are able to give your dog walker the direct communication and have them handle it, you just shaved off maybe an hour from your day from, the crazy client that calls you and wants to talk about politics and their crazy aunt. So anyways, I'm sure you guys can relate to that too. And then you need to also streamline. So you can hire a lot of people, but it's really, really expensive. But if you streamline something, then you don't need to hire another person, or you don't need to hire them right away. So if you streamline your scheduling and your client requests, and you streamline the communication, you streamline the automatic payments so that you never have to send out another invoice again, it just frees up all this time so that you have time to work on your operations manual or work on the next step that will get you closer to your freedom. these things take so many hours in the day. And if you're the technician, if you're the pie maker and the dog walker, and you're walking dogs all day, then you have to, from 9 to, say, 4 o'clock or 5 o'clock, if you're lucky, then you have to go and do your scheduling. You have to get back to client requests. Talk about are the systems that you guys have put in place in your business that you can share with all of us. Because that's the other thing is that, by asking others how they've done it, it just doesn't seem as overwhelming or scary. So, do you guys want to hop in there and tell us about some ways that you've kind of freed up your time or a system that you've put in place?
I can go if everybody is open to that.
Michaela, take it away.
Okay, I'll take it away. So this past year, I was going through this whole deal with my business where I was having clients not paying on time, I was having pet sitters not checking in on time, and I was having just a whole multitude of things. Mm-hmm. Like, just as much stuff as you could put on me, that's what happened. And so I ended up changing my entire system. I hired my mom to do not just my bookkeeping, but also to basically be my assistant with paperwork and with making sure that everybody is on time and getting all the bits and pieces together. And so this past year, I implemented a system with Trello that she and I now use to be able to...
I love Trello and Asana.
Oh,
yep.
Oh my God. It's like the most powerful tool in the whole wide world.
Can you describe it to everyone listening?
Oh, of course. So Trello is basically what I've done. I guess I can only describe what I've done. And so what I've done is done everything from organizing, color coding things. So like if I have something to do that's administrative, then it's purple. If I have an invoice that's out that needs to still be paid, but we sent it, then it's blue. It's light blue. If I have a job order to send to a pet sitter, then it's green. So I can organize everything to know, where it's at first. Mm-hmm. Is it in progress? Has it been finished? We've got lists of invoice lists. I mean, we've got lists all over the place. And so it's so fun because it finally feels organized, I guess.
Yeah. And just for you guys listening, Trello is fantastic and Asana is awesome. I use Asana because I'm dealing with a huge team of people remotely, and we can use it is a commenting system, kind of like email. But to describe it, it's a project management platform where you can create these lists like Michaela's saying, and you can kind of track your progress by moving things across the board. So you can have things in to-do. Once you're working on it, you can physically pick up a card. So you put the task on a card and you move it into the next stage. And it's great because everybody can follow along on where you're at. But yeah, I highly recommend it. But sorry, go on, Michaela.
Oh, no worries. Well, you totally explained it way better than I did. So there you go.
No.
It's all good. I perceive things in like how you see it, not necessarily how it makes sense. How's that?
No, you were describing it perfectly. I also really love the book Scrum, How to Do Twice the Work in Half the Time. That is an amazing book. We'll probably have that lead one of our discussions. Next month, we're going to be doing the 4-Hour Work Week. And that's one of my other most favorite books. But then we'll probably do Scrum after that. But Scrum talks about this kind of visual way of looking at your tasks and getting them done in a really clear way. Because lists, you lose track of them. There's just a long list and you're checking them off. But this is a way of getting things done really quickly. So good job, Michaela.
Well, thank you. Thank you.
Linda, what about you? You said that you've had your business for 9 years now, correct?
Yes. This is the 9th year. So, of course, there have been many changes along the way, but because I came out of being
administrative assistant for, most of my working life. I've been in offices and I've been in that kind of a job. So my sense of organization is developed. And so what's a big deal for me to, just create my own office wasn't a big deal. And create systems of keeping track of things also was not a big deal. But what became a big deal is exactly what you just were talking about, which is you can't be doing the physical work every day and keeping up on the office work too. There's just, that's me getting up at 4 a.m. because I'm a morning person and I'm not an evening person. So I can't come in after a day working and sit down and start doing office work. So that means I have to get up extra early in the morning if I'm going to be working all day I call it out in the field, but you know what I mean? If I'm going to be out working all day, for me that means I have to get up extra early in the morning to make sure I have all my office things and emails and everything caught up and good for the day.
Yeah, but if you're doing that so early, and then you've got clients that are probably after work putting in their client requests, you're working all day.
Well, yes, I am working all day some days. I do take a couple days off a week. I do have a part-time office assistant.
Oh, good.
So I get a couple days off a week to do whatever I want to do.
Oh,
well, we awesome.
All that's the freedom.
We plan it that way that every person gets to have a day off during the week because, as you know, you can't really do doctor visits or those kind of things on the weekend. So everybody needs to have a day off during the week to take care of personal appointments and whatnot. So we all schedule, we all get a day off during the week. And then the days that somebody needs to be off because I am down a dog walker, so a day that, someone's going to be off means that I have to step in and, pick up the slack there. But as long as I get my day, at least one day a week off, that makes me happy.
Yep, you have to protect your happiness. It's tough because as business owners, we never want to say no. And it's very difficult for us to do that. And I think that, putting the systems in place like you have where everybody gets their one day off and having people who can fill in for you, that allows you to protect your happiness and to have breathing room to step away but also not have to say no to anybody. So that's kind of the key that, is just so important. You're so right. Yep.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, there's days and I don't know what we did before these, cell phones that, I can run my business from my cell phone. So even I'm in the car all day, I'm still keeping up with what's going on. But, so for that, I don't know what people did, but all day long things happen that have to be dealt with. So whether you're sitting in your office, which makes it easier to deal with them, or you're out in your car, which makes it a little more difficult, there's still things that have to be reacted to as they're happening. You can't let everything just wait until you're home at 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, or 7 o'clock at night.
Right.
To deal with it.
Yeah, thank God for mobile phones.
Right?
Thank God for technology. That's all I have to say. Yeah, and I hate to do this as like a plug, but I can't imagine life without Handlr, and there's just nothing else that I would be able to put my business on because all of my customers, they love their mobile app, and there's no other platform that offers them the mobile app. Unless that they, there's other ones that have like online scheduling portals, but nobody goes on those. So if I were to take that away, I don't know what I would do. So, yeah. Michaela, you were going to hop in there.
Yes, I apologize. I got so excited because I had a question. One of the pieces that I have seen for myself is that, and I think you and I had talked about this the other night, where I will work from 7 to 11 at night and just go. And one of the questions I guess that I have for you is, how did you let your clients know or be able to step back in a way that said, if this pet sitter is not available, then this pet sitter will be available? How did you deal with that? Because obviously we all have things that come up. I honestly don't want to be the one that they always call on.
Right. Yep. And that's the fear, is that can anybody else do something as good as I can? And I think that you just have to know and trust your people so much. And you have to make sure that they're trained to do it exactly like you, so that you feel comfortable having your clients use that person and be happy. So it starts with you, but then it's also just relaying that confidence to your client and saying, we do our absolute best to provide you with the same dog walker or pet sitter every time, but they can't always be there because they have to take days off or they're in school or whatever. And so we have a backup dog walker or pet sitter for you, and you're welcome to do a free meet and greet if that makes you feel more comfortable. So that's what we do, and then we also during the training.
That's what I've done myself, and so I wasn't sure if that was like the same across the board, I guess.
Yeah. Some people just throw them in the fire, but it's not always the best. Sorry, Linda.
I start out that way. Every client knows there's going to be 2 people assigned to their dog, and I'm the third. So if none of the other 2 people can make it, then I will come. So I just tell them there will always be someone here for your dog, but we always have 2 people assigned to everybody. That's the way we run business.
And I think that's also what sets us apart from the hobbyists. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah. Well, that way it doesn't mean they can't have their favorite dog walker, the person. But, the people very seldom meet the dog walkers. So I don't know how people feel like one person is better than another person. That's always amazed me because they don't know them. I mean, they're not there. They don't see them. So I don't know why people would prefer one person over another, except maybe they write better notes. But but everybody's got 2 people assigned to them right off the bat, and I'm always number 3. So
that's perfect.
Very cool.
Yeah.
I appreciate hearing that too.
Thank you so much, you guys, for taking the time today, and I really appreciate you guys. And I'll hopefully talk to all of you next month as well.
Sounds good,
Brittany. You're going to talk to me sooner than that because I've been going to call you since the first of the year.
Oh, good. Sure.
To see what you can do for me or how you can help me.
Yeah, most
definitely. I want 3 days off a week now. Come on.
That's how it should be. You need to get to the 4-hour work week here.
I think that might be a pipe dream, but that's okay. I'll go read that book.
You'd be surprised. Okay, well, yeah, definitely give me a call. We can do another screen share, and I'll show you how Handlr is using Dog's Energy. And then along with Handlr, I can show you the other platforms that I use to really automate my business. You can catch me if you go to myhandlr.com, myhandlr.com, and then you can go to schedule a demo on the homepage. Well, have a great night, and I'll talk to you guys soon. All right.
Okay, all right. Thanks,
Bye-bye.